Oddcast breaking news special edition. We posted something earlier on about Bruce Feldman, Brody Miller, Pete Sampson from The Athletic reporting that Brian Kelly would be the guy. That was the guy LSU were aggressively pursuing. That was the term, aggressive. And immediately that name was met with a huge collective groan from the LSU fan base. There was a lot of people who were just not happy to hear this news. A lot of people were poo-pooing it, saying, once again, this is bullshit, blah, 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 and I'm thinking, this feels like the one, It felt like Woodward was running out of time with Lincoln Riley. But now he's really running out of time. There's no reason for me to believe that this is all smoke, BS. Obviously, what's happened is once the Feldman, Miller, and Sampson report came out, that everybody pounced on it and went with their different sources and went and attacked Notre Dame, South Bend, Indiana for everything they could find on what was going on, and those people are just as blindsided as everybody else. Now, Brian Kelly is a name that we kept hearing. Brian Kelly was a name that was in the background. Brian Kelly's a name that we wrote off because it just seemed like, really? That's the big game hunter that you're going to go for. That's the big game. You're going to go hunt Brian Kelly. It didn't really seem to pack a punch that everyone's going to like this. Everyone's going to love this. I don't think everybody likes, loves, or even comes close to agreeing with the Brian Kelly hire. Does that mean that Brian Kelly is the wrong guy to coach LSU? Not at all. Because really, at the end of the day, does it matter what the fan base thinks? No, not at all. It matters really not much. I mean, like, it matters in an aesthetic sense, in a symbolic sense, metaphorical sense, but really, who's on the field making it happen? What are we there for? We're there to cheer on the team. Who's the team? That's what it's about. Do the players like this hire? Are the players on board with the Brian Kelly hire? Well, we've been doing some digging, of course. We've been doing some messaging. We've been doing some calling. We've been talking to some peeps. And, from the players, it's been positive. Very positive. Kind of stunning in a way. It seemed like, not like they already knew, but like that they've known this guy because he's recruited them so hard. He stayed probably in contact with a bunch of them. It seems like there's a collective sense of unity behind the Brian Kelly hire. Now, is this official? Has this come to pass yet? Have we seen a press conference? No, we have not. But does it feel like this is it? Yes. Lincoln Riley felt like it was it because LSU were trying to get Lincoln Riley. They'll never admit to that. LSU, it doesn't matter if they say they were going after Lincoln Riley or not, because frankly, they don't want to look like they were rejected. So no, like LSU did everything they could to get Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley was not the fit for LSU. He did not want any part of the SEC. He wanted no part of the SEC. So, you got a guy who wants no part of the SEC, a guy who's afraid to come to LSU, a place where he would have never-ending oodles of talent, never-ending resources. And he says no to LSU to go to palm trees, okay? But then you got a guy from South Bend, Indiana, in the freezing cold, who's had to fight this tough recruiting battle with Notre Dame for years, trying to get kids to come and battle in that grueling weather for a fading tradition. These kids don't know who Newt Rockne is. They don't care about the tradition of Notre Dame football. And really, Notre Dame hasn't done much outside of the 2012 Manti Te'o season. And what did these kids remember if they know anything about Manti Te'o? It's the guy with the fake girlfriend. Like, Brian Kelly, I'm not saying he was looking for a way out, but if that way out came to him in the vision of Scott Woodward, saying, hey, do you want out of South Bend? You want to come to Baton Rouge and win a few national championships? I think Brian Kelly was like, hell yes, let's go. And maybe he's compared to the $12 million a year LSU were going to have to spend for Lincoln Riley, maybe Brian Kelly will end up being an absolute steal of a hire. I'm not sure exactly how much Brian Kelly will be paid. I'm not exactly sure right this second how much Brian Kelly is paid right now. There's something around, I swear, like $4 million or something. I could be wrong on that. I remember at one point he was one of the highest paid coaches in college football, but that was probably a few years back. Probably one of his first extensions. But with Kelly to LSU, isn't it just it's surreal, isn't it? It's crazy. Scott Woodward, what are you doing to us, man? What are you doing? I mean, I gotta say though, I know some people might boo-hoo me for. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not. I trust completely in Scott Woodward's vision here, but I'm gonna say one thing. When you have Lane Kiffin out there with the defensive pieces we have in place, and you have Lane Kiffin out there and you don't get him, I really do have to question. I really do have to wonder. That's a guy who would have fit here like just... The dude would have fit perfectly at LSU. From his vibe, personally, to the way he calls his offense, to the way he just everything about Lane Kiffin screams LSU head coach. And I get they didn't want a character. They wanted someone who was going to be straight up a war daddy, as Woody would call him. And Brian Kelly might just be that.